All right, welcome to another edition of Old School. I'm Steve Carino, and to my right is a true innovator. You know, the legend thing gets thrown around so much, but a guy that has inspired so many careers in professional wrestling, has inspired actual styles. To my right, it's Sabu. Thank you for joining me. You're not going to talk, right? I knew it. Hey,
Not a word.
I know, right? Now, Sabu, if I'm right, you started in 1985? Was that your first match?
Yes.
1985. So it's...
But I wasn't Sabu then. I was Terry SR. I
Terry.
wasn't Sabu till 1990, 5 years later.
Really? What did the SR stand for?
I don't know. My uncle never told me.
Oh, so he gave it to you?
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. He gave me Sabu too. I didn't name myself that. He named me that.
Now, you grew up in Michigan, and now your uncle's the famous Sheik that not only was...
Oh, that one.
Huh?
Oh, that one.
That guy.
That uncle.
Yeah. Very, very famous, one of the most famous heels ever, but also one of the more successful promoters in the territory days with the Detroit promotion. Now, how much did you growing up into wrestling, how much were you around your uncle?
Not as much as you'd think. Every Sunday we'd go to his house to visit, to swim at the pool and watch him and stuff. Because that was his day off. He was home on Sunday. So I wasn't around wrestling that much, other than what I would see or what happened at the house. As I got older, we went to wrestling matches, but when I was young, we didn't.
Now, did you watch it on TV much? Or,
yeah.
So you knew who he was.
Yeah, definitely.
And so going to the house on Sunday, were you seeing like a different side of him, or?
I knew he was my uncle, but he was a movie star to me. Somebody famous. Unbelievable. Untouchable.
Right. Almost like a mafia godfather, right?
Yeah. Like you see him, but you're scared to talk to him because you have so much respect for him.
Right. Now, was it your dad or mom that was brothers with him?
Well, it was my mother's brother.
Mother's brother. And now, did you know at the time that he owned the promotion? Like, I mean, you're young at the time.
I didn't know he owned it. No, I had no idea. I just thought he was the best, and that was it. And he was the best, no matter if he owned it or not. I knew from an early age he was different than everybody else. And when I was like 3 years old, I knew I wanted to be a wrestler. I just knew it. And when I got into high school to wrestle, I was like always gearing myself before that to be a wrestler in high school, and that was to gear myself to be a wrestler in pro wrestling. Condition myself.
So you knew, like, that's a question I ask everybody, because when I saw wrestling for the first time, I was 8 years old, and it was something inside me said, holy shit, I want to be a professional wrestler. And like, I think everybody that I've interviewed over the last few months, whether it be Kevin Sullivan, Tracy Smothers, Tommy Rich, they all say it was that spark. And then You were just saying it was 3 years old. You knew that you wanted to be.
You don't decide that's what you want to do. It decides for you.
Right, and it's hard to explain to somebody that's not involved,
guys
right?
Are hard to quit. After they retired, they're hard to quit because that thing chose them. It keeps drawing them back.
Yeah.
Drug.
And do you find it hard to explain that to somebody that's not involved in wrestling?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
I don't get it. You're in pain, you're this, you're that. Why don't you just quit? I said, you can't just quit.
Mm-hmm.
There's no just quit. You can quit for the moment, but then you're not quit. It's hard to quit everything when it comes to wrestling. It's so hard. As when Terry Funk had 15 retirement matches, kept coming back, he couldn't quit.
Yeah, it's 60, late 60s. He's still, doing his thing. And so, at what age do you approach your uncle when you're a certain age and say, sir, I'd like to be, a wrestler, or does he see it in you, like,
No,
he knows you're wrestling in high school?
Yeah, he knew all that about high school, and he always said, like, when you're ready, come out and see me. This is when I was younger. And I was scared of him to say, yeah, okay, well, so when I was 19, I got shot. So right after that, like right before that, I was saying I'm gonna be a wrestler soon. I'm starting to lift weights. I'm gonna be a wrestler. Then I got shot when I got to the hospital. I actually cracked down on it and started working out. And my mother had him call me, and he called me, and he wanted to see how my face was and all that. And I said, hey, Sheik, I want to be a wrestler. He goes, I know that. I said, how do you know that? He goes, don't think I know that, like the way you look at me for the last 20 years, And that's how I became a wrestler that way. He kind of asked me. He knew I wanted to ask him, but he asked me first.
I gotta go back a second. Did you say you got shot?
Yeah.
For some reason, I think this came up in Puerto Rico, but
You never heard that?
I might have been fucked up at the time.
Yeah, I got shot.
How? Where?
I got shot in the face right here with a handgun. The long story short, these two guys came across the street. They wanted to join a party. We said no. Out of the corner of my eye, I seen one of the guy pulled out a gun out of his sock and started shooting at my friend. Boom, boom, boom in his stomach. And shot another gun. Boom, boom, and took out friend. The boom, boom, boom in his stomach was a starter pistol. So he had a real gun and a fake gun. He didn't know which
one was which.
So he shot him with the not real gun and shot the other guy behind him with the real gun. And then he took off, ran after him. He was shooting while he was running, and I came up behind him and threw him down. And in the scuffle, he shot me in the face.
Did you know at the time that you were shot, or did you? Was the adrenaline running?
Yeah, I knew I got shot, but it felt like a ball-peen hammer, to where I was kind of, I couldn't move for a few minutes, because I was so surprised,
Holy shit! Now, how old were you when you got shot?
19.
Wow.
So I was out of the hospital 4 days. And my mother bought me 120 pounds of vinyl weights. Yeah. And I kept adding to it. Now I have about 7,000 pounds. Not of vinyl weights, of real weights.
Right.
But each year I'd add more weights to it.
Well, so you're 19, you get shot in the face, and this is where you talk to the sheik, and he says, okay, come to wrestle. Now, what's your mindset here? Now you're in the hospital, you got shot in the face. Now, like, does it go from gloom of, damn, I just got shot in the face, to, holy shit, I'm going to start, fulfilling my dream?
The gloom only lasted a few days. When I got out of the hospital, I kind of forgot about my face being shot. Other than I couldn't eat very good.
Right.
I knew it wasn't going to stop me or hurt me or anything like that, even slow me down. So that wasn't even the question. That was nothing.
How close were you to dying?
Not that close, because the bullet didn't go up or nothing. It hit my teeth and my cheek, and it shattered. And it hit the back of my throat and my nasal cavity. So I got pellets all in my face here and pellets down the back of my throat.
Wow.
But it was a 38 too, so it was pretty good. But he pushed it against my face, so it kind of muzzled it, so it didn't pick up the velocity it should have. Like say a foot away.
Yeah. Oh yeah, so a foot away, you're dead.
Yeah.
Close
to one piece and drilled the whole way through.
Holy shit. You know what? I vaguely remember us sitting in Denny's in Isla Verde and you telling me this story. But I couldn't have fucked up at the time.
Yeah, maybe.
So, she now, do you go to the house? Is there a ring set up, or does he bring you to one of the towns? And how do you start? Yeah, because it's...
He said I had to go to camp.
Okay.
Okay. So I went to his house for 6 months and never seen a ring. All I did was chop wood, shovel snow, do all the chores around the house, get a giant house, giant mansion, and 32 rent. It was real big. And all I did was that for 6 months. And I never said where's the ring was. Because if I would have said where's the ring, it would have been 10 months I seen a ring. Mm-hmm. It's funny that he always said that I had to do what he said. Do what he said, not as he do.
Right.
Don't do what I do what I say.
Kind of like a sushi chef, right? Like a sushi chef in Japan starts off as like an apprentice, cleaning everything before he's even allowed to do anything. Yeah.
Well,
and you knew that going in, right?
Yeah.
Now, were you the only guy in this camp, or
yeah.
Okay? So
it wasn't a real camp. It was a camp he made for me.
Right. That he was going to be. Did you feel like he was going to be a lot tougher on you?
Oh yeah.
Because of the family, or?
And I expected him to, and
yeah.
He told me he would.
Wow.
I'm not going to treat you like everybody else. You're scum to me and all this. When we're in front of people, you're scum to me. But anyways, it was 7 months that I seen a ring, and then it was like parts of a ring. So I had to build the ring. Mm-hmm. So he taught me how to build the ring. A good ring. And then he taught me how to referee, and then I refereed all the matches at first. And sat people down and sold popcorn at intermission and tore the ring down with the next town. Eventually, I got to wrestle the first match, wrestle the other matches, referee the last match. Wrestle the first match, referee the rest of the matches, and then wrestle the last match. And then tear the ring down and do all that shit again, popcorn and everything.
Run it all, run to the next town?
Yeah.
Wow. So,
just so I knew everything about the business. I know how to take tickets, I know how to sit people down, I know how to deal with people who are getting rowdy as a bodyguard, I know how to set a ring up, I know how to fix a ring when it's broken, I know how to referee, I know how to wrestle, I know how to do it all, everything.
Very, almost very Japanese style, right?
I was only Jap there doing it.
Yeah, right?
Team them.
yeah, exactly. But you in essence were like a young boy, you were learning from the bottom up.
And see, the guys around me, like Bobo Brazil and these other guys, they didn't see that, so they kind of was saying, hey, they didn't know the Sheik was my uncle, and they go, hey kid, maybe the Sheik don't like you. And I said, nah, maybe he loves me. I said, can't figure it out yet, but I knew he did.
Right.
But they didn't know. They just thought Sheik was running me hard to get me to quit, and he was. He was running me hard to get me to quit because he knew I wouldn't quit.
Right. Now, did you when those guys like Bobo Brazil's, huge legend and
Yes.
stuff like that, and was it like something that your uncle said, you like, do not say that we're related, or did you just know?
No, he said, you're nobody. Don't tell them who you are, and treat you any different than the way I treat you, or if you tell them that who you are, something like that, you're done.
Wow.
You're done.
So that's something you gotta.
He goes, even if I tell you to do something and you know it's wrong, you still have to do it
Right.
the way I did it. If he says that camera is set up right, I want you to shoot upside down, it'll be wrong. He wants it upside down, it's wrong. He wants it upside down then.
He's the boss.
Exactly. Even if I know it's right, I got to do it his way, and I did with my faith.
Right. Now, when you're training, everybody's training is different, especially when we do these interviews. We call it old school because, I interviewed Kevin Sullivan and Tracy Smothers, Tommy Rich, and Rock and Roll Express. Everybody, in this generation has a different way of training, a different way of breaking in, a different way of smartening it up.
I agree.
How did, what's the process of your training and smartening up? Now, it's something where you're smartened up as you go along, or is it something that like you got to figure out on your own? No one's telling you that Santa Claus isn't real.
You try to figure it out as your own, but you smarten it up as you get along, as you move along, as you learn more, you get smartened up. You don't want to be smartened up in day one.
Right.
You got to ease into it.
Right.
But if you can get it on your own, usually that's wrong. But then you at least have a clue at it, then you can fix them. You know what I mean? I think so.
Did you find the transition from amateur wrestling to pro wrestling tough, or did you know it was apples and oranges?
I knew it was apples and oranges. It wasn't tough for me.
No, because you had it in your mind, right?
I was imitating pro wrestling way before I did amateur wrestling all my life. Running my head into stuff and bouncing off things and acting like I'm wrestling somebody and they're not there. Like pro wrestling style.
Right.
Well, years before I even seen a wrestling mat.
Mm-hmm. Now, your style that you're known for, in from the early '90s to today, I imagine that's not the style you had when you first started out, right?
Right.
You're a basic, in your territory, first match guy, right?
First match guy.
Now, did you have it in your mind about the style that you were going to create, or did you think like?
Yes, I didn't know. I didn't have a vision of it yet, but I knew whatever I was doing now. I knew I was being held back so much from what I want to do. But when it's my time, I have something.
Then you're going to explode with it. Okay, wow.
But I didn't know what that was. I just knew I had more than what I'm showing you because I'm only doing what I'm told.
Did you have any idea that like the stuff that you would do in FMW and ECW would be stuff that would not only be imitated, but like you created styles, and we're gonna get into that a lot later. But
yeah, but no, I never thought it would.
It was just something in your mind that you were gonna do to stand out.
Yeah.
So you start off as Terry SR, and he never told you what it meant.
No.
Huh. And you're doing opening matches now. The 1985, the Detroit territory is a lot smaller at that point, right?
That's
Because if I'm right, the city, it's gone through like financial problems and stuff like that, which hurt a lot of the territories. What kind of schedule are you on when you first start? Walk me through like a week. Does it start at Cobo Hall or
No, I never did that. It actually started in Toronto. Our first match was like Windsor, and we'd go up to 409 all summer, 409 back, and then hit Michigan, Ohio, all that during the winter, boom, 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 and then the summer right back the same way.
Oh wow! So you're not hitting the same towns every week, or?
No. We'd hit it once a season.
Mm-hmm. Which was different than a lot of the other territories.
We didn't have TV back then, so we just hit it once a season.
And was it a lot of it relying on the name strength of the Sheik and Bobo Brazil? Yeah. And now your uncle's teaching you along the way. Are you Is he not only is he's promoting, and if I'm right, your aunt's promoting too, right? Or she was actually the like promoter of record, right? And
behind the scenes.
behind the scenes, right? How involved was she?
What's that?
How involved was she behind the scenes?
Very involved.
Very involved?
Very hand in hand.
Wow. Now, how did she treat you? Is it
Great, like she was my mom.
right?
It's fantastic.
Now, with them running the territory and stuff like that, oh, what kind of living can you make? Are you making it first, or you just don't care? Whatever you make is
Yeah, I didn't care. They took care of me, so I didn't have to worry about nothing. And gave me a few dollars from my pocket. But I didn't make like the other guys. They made like real money. But it didn't matter to me. I just wanted to learn, you know.
Now, how long does it take for you to start feeling a little comfortable in the ring? Before, you were saying you did one match, then you would referee the rest of the show, then bust down the ring, make the next town and stuff like that.
How many years?
Yes, and you said
About 7 years.
About 7 years before. So
Right.
you're already Sabu before you start feeling comfortable,
Right,
right?
I was 2 years at Sabu, but that was right before I went to Japan.
Now, how's the transition from Terry SR to Sabu? Now, I imagine Terry SR, and I've seen some pictures in the magazine, your regular boots, knee pads, trunks, and
Well, it wasn't just the costume. It was a style I was holding back. I'd only act the way like Sabu does in practice when no one was looking. And my uncle would say, "Stop doing that." And then one day he said, "Now let's see that cat." I go, "What cat?" He goes, "That cat. You don't show anybody, but only I see it." And I said, "Okay." And then I knew what he meant. Act my thing, and because before wrestling, you're supposed to be here,
Right.
And I'm here. A real wrestler would be here too. Now I train guys to have that straight back, but for me, my uncle said, "Don't do that straight back. That's not you anymore."
You were the wild man.
I don't have to be traditional anymore. He gave me the okay to be myself. And then I went to Japan, the first time doing that, being myself, because I was Sabu, still holding back. But when I was Sabu, not holding back, my first match was in Japan against Horace Boulder and Mark Starr, me and the Sheik, against Mark Starr and Horace Boulder, and the Sheik. And Onita said, "Let's see what you got." And then I did what I got, and they went nuts. And I didn't give them my best stuff in this game, because I couldn't talk to the guys then. They were separate dressing rooms. So I said I had to get what I could without talking to them.
Wow. So now, your uncle's got the in with FMW. How does he say? Does he basically tell Onita, "Hey, I have my young boy that's going to come over. I want you to see."
That's funny. They had a tag team tournament coming up, and they said Sheik and a tag team partner. And they said, "Okay, I'll bring over my nephew." They go, "No, make it an Arab tag team partner." He goes, "Yeah, he's an Arab. He's my nephew." They go, "No, okay, well, it don't matter. Bring over anybody." So they didn't believe I was his nephew. Until after I wrestled, they still didn't believe I was his nephew. Until they actually got to know us, and they figured out that it was for real.
Wow.
Because they go, "You wrestled nothing like the Sheik." And Sheik's cousin, his family, they're not very good wrestlers. I had a couple cousins. Cut that out. They wrestled. They were very good. But so when they brought me, they figured if I was his nephew, I'm no good. But if I am good, I'm not his nephew.